Your number one online sports show is back this afternoon, a bit later than normal. This is All Things Football, Football Unpacked. This week, the Betway Premiership takes the back seat as we look at our second domestic tournament of the season, which is the Carling Knockout, a tournament which was formed in 1982, back then known as the Datsun Challenge Cup from 1982 to 1984 when the league was renamed the NSL under the late Suleiman Bamji. Before then was later changed from 1984 to 1991, 1992 to 1996. It became the Coca-Cola Cup, which was won by the likes of your Amazulus. The last trophy they've won ever since. Your Bushbucks were the most successful in the tournament. Not forgetting the now defunct Free State Stars, who are also victors in 1994 with with the now defunct Bidvest Vets. Not forgetting, not 1997, it was renamed the Rothmans Cup from 1997 to 2000 before the PSL did away with tobacco products, endorsing the tobacco company. It was renamed the Coca-Cola Cup from 2001 to 2005, then known as the Telkom Knockout from 2006 to 2019, now known as the Carling Knockout. We're down to 8 from 16, which saw the round of 16, which saw the tournament favorites, the most successful team in the tournament with 13 titles, Kaizer Chiefs, crashing out alongside Mamelodi Sundowns, who fell short, with both teams falling short in the penalty shootout. Good afternoon, welcome to it. This is All Things Football, Football Unpacked. My name is Apiwe Roto. Hit that like button if you like the show, comment and subscribe on YouTube. We are on All Things Football, Football Unpacked. And of course on YouTube and on Instagram and TikTok at All Things Football _14. Like the Facebook page, All Things Football, Football Unpacked. Plenty to talk about. We finally have the Under 17 World Cup group stages, which is now up to 48 teams. We're going to see how things pan out as far as the tournament is concerned. I've got the teams right here. I've got the group stages, like I said I would deliver. I've got them right here. I'm gonna break them down to you before everything else. The tournament takes place in Qatar next week on the 30th of October, towards the end of the month, 30th of October. The team is set to depart for Qatar on Monday. What caught many by surprise is the absence of Emil Vidboy, who's been phenomenal during his exploits at Cape Town City. Let's see how the groups line up. We've got the host Qatar, who will take on Italy, South Africa, and Bolivia. With Italy and South Africa cross paths in the last cross paths were paired in the same group in 2017 in the World Cup, which took place in South Korea. The Under 17 World Cup, which took place in South Korea. Group B is South Africa and Bolivia. Group BC is Japan, who also faced South Africa in 2017 alongside Morocco, New Caledonia, and Portugal. While Group C will see Senegal, Croatia, Costa Rica, United Arab Emirates. Group D sees Argentina, Belgium, Tunisia, and Fiji, while Group E will see the 2017 winners in Belgium, in England, Venezuela, Haiti, and of course Egypt. South Africa is the continent rather, beg your pardon. Africa is represented by 10 nations this time, with 10 out of the 12 groups. Now having 10 countries. Group F will see Mexico, South Korea, Cote d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, that is, and of course Switzerland. Group G, the only one of the few not to have an African, one of the two not to have an African side. It features Germany, Colombia, Korea, North Korea, DPR, which is North Korea, and of course El Salvador. While we'll see one of the most decorated football nations in football history, Brazil in Group H, alongside Honduras, Indonesia, and Zambia. The junior stallions are in Group I, alongside with the United States of Africa, Tajikistan, and Czechia, which is formerly known as the Czech Republic. Group J features Paraguay, Uzbekistan, Panama, Republic of Ireland, while Group K will see France, Chile, Canada, and Uganda. Group L is Mali, New Zealand, Austria, and Saudi Arabia. Let's get into the news making headlines in the last week. Plenty to talk about, hoping to fit it in the next hour. Promising young goalkeeper. We start on a dark note. Following the passing of a young goalkeeper who was found deceased, and after his lifeless body was found abandoned. Now this happens after the young player by the name of Sheikh Toure was lured by kidnappers into going for trials at for a professional football club in Ghana by people who posed as scouts. These guys posed as player agents or player scouts, if invited them to travel to Ghana for trials presented themselves as scouts, where before kidnapping the boy and contacting his family, demanding a ransom. However, after the family was unable to provide the ransom, after the family was unable to provide the ransom, the boy was found murdered by the kidnappers. The boy's lifeless body was found lying in an abandoned area. Now, if we find the story here, now we're gonna find the story here of what happened after the boy is only 18 years old. He was a promising goalkeeper from Senegal who was tricked into going for what supposed trials in Ghana. Now I'm going to ask parents to be protective when it comes to their players, to their children, because we have aspiring soccer stars who are scammed by so-called scouts. Now, according to the story here, it says the information gathered by the embassy of the Senegal, and at the Senegalese embassy, which is based in Accra, the deceased body has been placed at the Ebenezer mortuary in Tafo in the Ashanti region, which is located 250 kilometers from Accra. The competent Ghanaian authorities have been officially contacted to carry out a thorough investigation into the exact circumstances of the boy's death. In this regard, two officials from the embassy will be dispatched to Kumasi on Sunday. Were dispatched on Sunday on the 19th of October to assist the local authorities with the administrative and judicial procedures and to work with the family to arrange the repatriation of the body to Senegal as soon as the necessary authorizations have been obtained. The ministry wishes to express its deepest sympathy to the bereaved family and to assure them that this matter is being followed by utmost attention. Condolences to the family and friends of the young, promising shortstopper. Another football promising life cut short after a group of thugs claimed posed themselves as scouts only to kidnap the young man and demand a ransom from his family, failure to which led to the boy's tragic passing. May his soul rest in peace. Rest in peace to Sheikh Torre. In other news, we speak of Stellenbosch FC travel. We're back in the PSL. Stellenbosch will travel in style after forming a collaboration with local outdoor sports brand, namely First Ascent. Now, First Ascent is a now, let's talk about First Ascent. What is First Ascent? You may be asking yourself. Now, as much as the collaboration has not been fully announced, however, we saw on the club's social media pages, the brand was the outdoor sports brand was established in 1989, renowned for its premium design and quality, which supplies high performance for clothes and equipment for outdoor activities like hiking, cycling, running, and camping for more than 3 decades, which is 30 years to the close over 30 years from now, dating back to 1989. Now, the collaboration has not been official. However, we saw we saw the players try, we saw the social media, we saw social media where we saw the club's social media, the X account that is formerly known as Twitter, where the boys traveled to Equatorial Guinea to face 15 de Agosto de Akanobe in the first leg of the CAF Confederation Cup preliminary round, where they fight, where they are out to go on a quest to take part in the group stages. Studies last season went as far as the semi-finals before being eliminated by Tanzanian giant Simba. So moving on to our other story, Kaiser Chiefs co-head coach and Cedric Kaze has come to the defense of forward Ashley Dupree. Now, the Kaiser Chiefs marksman's mental state has been put into question following after he failed to convert open net opportunity in the game against AS Simba at the start, TP Mazembe and Lubumbashi and the DRC in the preliminary first round of the CAF Confederation Cup, where Stellenbosch are also taking part. Now speaking to Kickoff Magazine, he's speaking after the game. He had this to say about the 28-year-old about Ashley. I won't say that it is normal, but it happens. Look, it's football. Great for players miss opportunities all the time. You're not always going to get these things right. However, he goes on to say it's like an accident that happens in football, and he was devastated after the game. We did not see him on Wednesday, most likely to protect him because players usually take heat because of what happens because of their mishaps. We see players taking heat from social media. We had the South African Players Football Union call out football legend and Junior Kanye for constantly criticizing players. It goes on to say, but as coaches, as a club, with his teammates, we are here to support him. We are here to show him that even in bad moments, we are here because it is easy to throw rocks at someone that hasn't done well. But remember, Ashley has helped us a lot in previous games. Now now there are question marks with Ashley Dupree taking heat for missing setters. However, despite missing setters, he scores goals that are rather tricky, difficult goals from difficult positions. The last time he found the back of the net, if you remember clearly, it was the goal that sent Kaiser Chiefs to the final of the Nedbank Cup, in which they would emerge victorious against their arch rivals in Orlando Pirates. But the biggest thing is to show him our support, and I'm pretty sure he is a guy with a very strong mentality. He will bounce back. His coach goes on to say. Another one who had something to say regarding the miss was former Kaiser Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, and Kaiser Chiefs forward and Pumlani Mkhize. This is who expressed shock at the fact that he missed the opportunity. He opened up about his experience during his during his stay at Natrona. Now, Pumlani Mkhize is one of the few players who played for both Orlando Pirates and Kaiser Chiefs, moving from Orlando Pirates to Kaiser Chiefs in 2001 after enjoying some success at Orlando Pirates. He states that, to be honest, I'm still shocked at how Dupree missed that goal. I think it has to do with him losing his father. Now he lost his father during the time. We saw now this happens a lot. We saw Stanley Nwabali was apparently denied leave to go attend his mother's funeral. Now his mental state was also put into question. Many were left with unanswered questions as to why you would deny a player or a human being in general leave to go and attend their parents' funeral. Which so now after that game, now during that game, we saw Stanley Nwabali perform dismally, though we cannot recall which game this was. It was supposedly after he had just lost his mother and was not allowed leave to go to Nigeria to bury his mother. He states that I think it has to do with him losing his father. He tends to miss easy chances, but scores the most difficult ones, says the man who was known as BMX in his day during an interview in Kickoff. I'm not suggesting that he missed it on purpose, But sometimes a player may be unhappy with a coach that doesn't value them enough or doesn't start them. Now, he's come off the bench on a few occasions. He has not started much. This can lead to a player not putting their full effort for the coach. He states that, I remember when I was at Chiefs, I once missed an easy chance delivered on purpose just to spite Musin Integral. Now, this occurred on the 24th of March, February, I beg your pardon, during a game against Santos in Cape Town, in which the Kaiser Chiefs played to a goalless draw against the People's team. Moving right along, we move to the Motsepe Foundation Championship, where the Motsepe Foundation Championship side in Baroka FC have confirmed, according to Chairman Karushi Mpahlele, that coach Dan Malesela has been suspended. Now, the Leboegomo base side currently lying 15th on the log of the Motsepe Foundation Championship with just one win in 7 matches and 4 points. Now, the reason behind it is apparently because of poor performance. Uh, He, in an interview with Kickoff.com, he confirms yes, Mpahlele, yes, he is on suspension. That is true. The suspension is due to poor performance. We are still in the process of finding out what could be the reason the team is having such a bad start. We will do a little digging. We have a team capable enough for the championship. We have experienced players. In fact, we have internationals in the team. About 5 of the players in our current team are from the Premier Soccer League, which is the top flight. Now, Baraka played in the Betway Premiership before being relegated in the 2021-2022 season. He goes on to state that there will be a hearing with regards to the coach and the happenings of beside to address the reasoning behind the poor performance. They'll be hearing, but the data will depend on the chairman, and also on the chairman of the hearing, and of course the coach, and how cooperative he is in taking part in the hearing. Now, due to lightning, I have to take my earphones off for my own safety. You cannot have earphones on when there's lightning outside. It's bad enough that I have to shoot this during lightning. However, the show has to go on, as this is a preview show to give you what you can expect as far as football is concerned. This is all about your news, results, and fixtures. Is dedicated to bring you news, results, and fixtures. Moving on back to Kaiser Chiefs. Now, Kaiser Chiefs are said to have survived a health scare during their stay in Lubumbashi, where they played to a goalless draw against AS Simba Kolwezi. Now, Kaiser Chiefs were held to a goalless draw by the Central African side and need a victory if they are going to progress to the group stages of the tournament. Now, Kaiser Chiefs made it to the final of the CAF Champions League, where they finished runners up after losing by 3 goals to 0 to the most decorated that tournament's most competition's most successful side, and the Red Devils of Egypt in Al Ali, the club of the century as it's called. According to Khaled Ben Youssef, he in an interview, the trip to DRC Congo was not an easy walk in the park. Now, this is not the first time South African clubs have complained about the poor treatment as far as from the African point of view, which I find very strange, because these teams come here all the time. They are treated like royalty. I remember if you remember clearly, Dane Clayt did confirm during an interview that they had to bring their own food because they were not too sure about the food that they will be getting those sites, and they do not get treated very well. We had Bafana who had to wait 20 hours before in an airport before they get service, because the airport workers decided to go on strike for whatever reason we cannot mention. However, it appears they did go on strike. Fanatics, remember, if you like the show, remember to comment, subscribe, like, and follow. We're on TikTok at all things football_14. YouTube, we are on All Things Football, Football Unpacked, like the page on Facebook. All Things Football, Football Unpacked. We're on 3.5k followers. The support is appreciated. I have to say congratulations to the players. Then speaking to Carlo Ben Youssef, he says I have to say congratulations to the players because we have 5 players who are vomiting with vomiting and diarrhea. I don't know what happened with the food, but we're in a critical situation in the morning with 5 of them not sure if they will play, and they're most likely to miss the second leg tomorrow, which takes place at the Dobsonville Stadium. Beyond the food issues, they also had to play on an artificial turf at the Stade TP Mazembe in Lubumbashi, with a game which could have been sealed by that setup by Ashley Dupree, which he was unable to put at the back of the net, which he most likely to take heat for. But I have to say congratulations to them, even though they were not 100% ready. They were ready to fight for the team, and congratulations to them. He goes on to say, with Claude Lelepo, he got in the session 2 days before the match. Game against we saw him in the game against Sewell, goalless draw against Sewell. Even decided him to play when he decided to play despite being injured. He came on in the 64th minute. We saw that he can't play, he can't continue playing, so he had to be taken off. We make way for Ashley Dupree, who has pace to trouble defenders, scores crucial goals from. Now the thing with Ashley Dupree is that he does have the pace to trouble defenders from time to time. He's not an out and out nine, because Coach Arthur's wanna played him as an 8 at some point. He'll go from playing as an 8, then from time to time he'll play as a 9. Most likely a false 9. I see him as a winger. I don't know what you think. He has pace to trouble defenders. He scores crucial goals from time to time. However, from every now and then he will miss up. His last touch is going to fail him. Moving on to our next story, another sad story from a football perspective. We move back to Limpopo. Marimo Gallant's defender Tsepo Rekotso has requested for assistance after losing his family home in Katlehong to a devastating fire. The fire is said to have destroyed the house along with the furniture, clothing, documents, along with money, leaving them with nothing. Now, this happened at Makakula Heights in the early hours of the 18th of October. According to the people close to the family, the blaze completely gutted the property, leaving them with nothing. The belongings were all destroyed in the fire, including the furniture, clothing, documents, or money, the works. Now, the affected household consists of 3 adult women and 3 children, a 3-year-old boy, a 14-year-old girl, and a 19-year-old girl. No injuries were reported. However, they appealed to the public the football fraternity for any form of help. It doesn't have to be much. If you are able to contribute, please do contribute. Now, as much as the show is about news, results, and fixtures, I also feel the need to there's also the need to give some football education or education in general. Now, if you can, you do not have to give much. If you cannot, however, if you are able to give something, please do come through for the family, be it from a clothing perspective, food perspective, or financial donation, which will help them ease the burden. Now, the account name, Tepo Rakotso, whose bank account is from Capitec. The account number goes by 12999 I'm going to repeat the account number 12999 Linked number 061 480 4949. 06, that's the link, that's his cell phone number, I believe. 061 480 4949. For more information or additional support, please do contact the following number, also 060 I'm going to repeat it again if you feel I'm moving too fast. 060 Every contribution, it does not matter how small it is, will make a huge difference to the Rekotsa family as they recover from the tragic loss. We wish them well. We are with them. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Rekotsa family. Let's hope they will get through this hurdle. Moving on to our other story, Amazulu CEO Snenjabulo Zungu has come out in a statement that in a statement citing that the KZN base side would like they would like to see the KZN base side when the PSL going into is before the team reaches a century mile. Now Amazulu were formed in 1932 before 5 years before Orlando Pirates were formed in 1937, in a country where professional clubs come in and cease to exist. Now, when you talk about clubs that have ceased to exist, you talk about your Penville United Brothers, your Dynamos, your Vol Professionals, your Hellenic, which is now development club, no longer a professional club. You had your Manning Rangers, which is now defunct. I could go on forever. There's so many of these clubs. We have Bush Bucks, now known as Mtata Bucks, which was owned by Storo Pasia, was based in Mtata. However, would go on to leave Mtata due to the lack of facilities. Just to mention a few, with Jomo Cosmos also now applying their trade in the lower division. Now the Amazulu are one of the only four teams in the PSL who are known as the PSL originals, so who've been active in the PSL despite surviving relegation here and there, along with Orlando Pirates, Kaizer Chiefs, Mamelodi Sundowns. Despite their age, success on the field has been a struggle since that 1992 Coca-Cola win over Kaizer Chiefs, where they beat the Soweto side 3-1 to deny them a quadruple, having won a treble that year after winning the BP Top 8, the then BP Top 8, the NSL title, and of course the Bob Save Super Bowl, which is now known as the Nedbank Cup. Speaking to Snenjabulo Zungu, she states that we really genuinely sincere believe that we are a top team. Speaking to Channel Africa, we are still hopeful to cement our position in the quartile. The best Usutu have done but to this stage was reaching second place. That was under the tutelage of the great Benny McCarthy, where they went as far as making the Champions League group stages. However, they were unable to reach the last eight. When are we going to win the league? The question asks. Hopefully by 2032 we'll have lifted at least one trophy. They've made two finals where they fell short on both occasions. 2010, the Nedbank Cup, and 2010 where they lost to Bidvest West by 3 goals to 0 at FNB Stadium, and another final to Orlando Pirates in 2022 where they lost by an odd goal. That was the MTN 8. Since Chairman Sandile Zungu acquired ownership of the club in 2020, it has shown signs of potential to challenge for trophies, though consistency is sometimes something that it continues to struggle with. Now, he made a strong statement with the intent of by recruiting Benny McCarthy. We saw what happened, where they finished as runners up in 2021. By far their highest position to date since we had the Pearsons. The NSL was what became a thing of the past, and it became known as the Premier Soccer League in the 1996-1997 era, which turns 30 years old. We're 2026. We celebrate 30 years of the PSL since its inception in the year 1996. The club was able to maintain consistency in the form of Final Striker's second season, and he was ultimately relieved of his duties. They've established themselves as a solid top flight football. They've been tough nut to crack from many positions. The team is currently led by Arthur Zwane, hoping to find a way to challenge the Gauteng Giants for the nation's most talented players at the peak of their powers, which they will find difficult. Moving right along, we go take it from Durban to Cape Town, where we hear about Cape Town Spurs who've been in and out of the arbitration and the DRC, which is the dispute resolution chamber, following their relegation to the lower division. Now, when a team is relegated to the lower division, which is the ABC Motsepe League, they lose their players on a free. the players are deemed as free agents as they are known as semi-professionals. You're not professionals anymore. You're more of semi-professionals. We currently, by as the show goes on, we are currently building up to the first game of the Colin Black Label Knockout quarterfinals, which is between Richards Bay and Durban City, as Richards Bay have returned to their original stadium at the Umhlatuza Sports Complex, which they had not used since 2017, whereas it underwent a multi-million rand renovation that I can gladly say the stadium has now been complete. Now, Spurs have absorbed all costs in the previous structures. However, following the relegation to the amateur ranks, the team is now struggling, is no longer sustainable. According to CEO Alexei Estfati, he has confirmed that the parents and agents along with sponsors are now along with sponsors, will be required to help fund the 30-year-old academy following the side's relegation to the amateur level. He explained to kickoff.com during an interview, citing that the academy has always been a pro bono structure. The club covered all the costs. We remember that very well when they were taken over by Ajax Cape Town, by Ajax Amsterdam, and became known as Ajax Cape Town after Cape Town Spurs and the then Seven Stars amalgamated to form Cape Town Spurs to form Ajax Cape Town. The academy has always been a pro bono structure. The club covered all costs, approximately 80,000 rand per month, excluding the player factor cost. Now, this has been a letdown because they've struggled to sell players from a development perspective, because when you groom a player and sell them, you not only just sell the player, the development fee also comes into play, which has been a struggle because they've recently lost three players on a free, namely Arsenal Valebai, Liam Botman, who have since gone to Kaizer Chiefs, while Liam Byrne has gone to Amazulu. It will continue to operate, but going forward, parents and possibly individual sponsors will need to contribute financially to maintain the high quality service we will continue to supply. This marks the end of an era for the Urban Warriors, whose academy at the Ikamva produced some of the best recognizable names. Let's hope they will. We hoping they will escape this hurdle. Um, or they will escape this hurdle and do away with triggering legal battles, which they've had with contracted players who have left on free transfers as free agents. Moving on to our other story. Despite putting coach Dan Malasela on suspension, they've appointed Tlesani Mutaung as new head coach. And now Coach Mutaung will take over the struggling side till the end of the season. And now the coach returns from is a former coach, is no stranger to the Motsepe Foundation Championship, having coached the University Tax Pretoria University, or better yet, Tax, where he led them to a 10th place finish. Right as we speak, Baroka, as we mentioned earlier, currently lying 15th in the league with just one win in 7 games and are on four points. Now, Modern was last in charge of Amatax during the 2025 season, where he led them to a 10 place finish, missing out on a playoff place by 10 points. His assistant will be a former head coach, Matsamela Toka, who the club brought back following his stint with Ngwabe City Motors, who ply their trade in the Limpopo ABC Motsepe League. Now, when we say the Limpopo ABC Motsepe League, the each province has its own league. The ABC Motsepe League, we could go from Gauteng to the Western Cape to KZN. They all have, that's where you have your Milfords, your Barokas, and your Ravens FC, and your Amavara coming from. The Eastern Cape and all these provinces all have their leagues of their own. Speaking to the Baroka owner, Karishi Mpahlele, he had announced the team had suspended the current coach in Dan Malasela due to poor performance to determine what went wrong in Bahaga's first 7 games, where they won one, lost five, and drew just once. Meaning they are on 4 points. This has resulted in the former Chippa United and Tax Galaxy coach being shown the door, paving the road for him to join Chippa United. Berger currently sits second, which is 15th from bottom. Alo equal with 16th placed Midlands Wanderers, will be facing Hungry Lions later today. Moving on to our other story, the South African Football Association legal expert and Tebogo Motlanti, who has worked at the association as both the chief executive officer and the chief operating officer, has resigned for approximately the second time. The reason he vacated his position comes from a point of concern over the direction of the association, which has left many question marks. Now, been a lot that's been going on at the association. If you've been following the game clearly, a lot has been going on at the association, including the raiding of the association of Safa Media of Safa office at Nazareth by the Hawks, where our president is currently doing had also appeared in court on charges of corruption with an acquaintance of his. Now, there's also the case of Coach Desiree Ellis. Banyana Banyana went to the DRC where they played to a 1-0 draw without their coach. We saw assistant coach take over from Tina Songambuli take over from Desiree Ellis following a contract uncertainty. Now, last week we brought you a story regarding this matter at SAFA, where the National Executive Committee was said to have endorsed the appointment of both Coach Desiree Ellis and of course Molefe Ntseke on both on 4-year contract, following their impressive displays. Now let's look at Desiree Ellis. Now Desiree Ellis is currently in limbo because despite providing the 4-year contract, they could not come to an agreement. This saw Tina Sogembuli step in to lead Banyana Banyana to the game in DRC. Let's talk now. Speaking of the coach, Dr. Desiree Ellis, she left behind a legacy at guiding Banyana Banyana to the women's AFCON, a trophy with tournament which she had not won as a player all those years, finishing as a runner-up on numerous occasions, including the year 2016. Was the first coach to take Banyana Banyana to successive World Cups in 2019 and 2023, and led the side to the round of 16, where they would eventually fall short to the Netherlands, and winning, not forgetting, where she won CAF Women's Coach of the Year 4 times in the years 2018, 2019, 2022, and of course 2023. Not forgetting these are achievements which include Order of Ikamanga for National Honor for Excellence in Sport, honorary doctorate from CPUT for impact on women's sports before transport, and of course not forgetting that she transformed Banyana Banyana into a continental powerhouse, making Banyana one of the few nations to making South Africa one of the few nations to have won the continental showpiece from a man and women's perspective, along with the national under 20s, who were recently crowned champions earlier this year in a tournament that took place in Morocco. Perhaps our association needs to do better. We need to take accountability. We saw the celebration. We saw celebrations. If you've been following, we saw celebrations where Coach Hellman and Coach Hugo Bruce were given goodies in a celebration of Bafana Bafana qualifying for their first World Cup, and many have been unimpressed with team manager Vincent Zeka and his conduct. We saw what transpired at the Mbombela Stadium after that game came to an end, where Bafana Bafana emerged as 3-0 victors in against Rwanda, who they lost to 2-0 in Rwanda. These things need to be addressed. Okay, a lot needs to be addressed. How is it? What I don't understand is how it is that a blunder of this note will be swept under the carpet or under the rug as if nothing happened just because we qualified. Will coach will Mr. Vincent Seka be held accountable? Is my question, or is it just telling us what we need to hear? As far as the supposed investigation is concerned, it remains to be seen. However, follow all things football Unpacked, as well keep you up to date from football from with what happens in terms of the situation with the team manager. Now, Mutlanta first quit in May 2023, penning and he goes now to pen and now infamous resignation letter in which he states that he could no longer serve from a position of no power, where he described himself as nothing but a glorified clerk. However, after a few months of lobbying, he made a return in August last year. This time, the chief operations officer will also continuing to assist Safa in a consulting capacity. He does have a legal background, and he had been working in the Safa's legal offices, where he was instrumental in the handling of disputes with APC Motsepe League clubs and the Premier Soccer League. And the court from the arbitration aspect, his latest exit is expected to leave a significant gap in the association's legal and administrative operation, which will cause potential delays and disputes. His departure follows that of SAFA technical director Walter Steenbok, who recently resigned after citing a lack of institutional support for his development programs. And now remains unclear as to where Motlandi will surface next, but given his expertise and experience, he will not be lost to football. He's unlikely to remain unattached for some time, and he has been linked with positions in both the PSL and the COSAFA, which is the Council of Southern African Football Association. Moving on to another story. Now, moving before we can move on, with regards to the resignation, Coach Motlandi could not be reached for comment. We could not be reached for comment. Moving on to our next story, Chippa United coach Luke Email has been relieved of his duties with Chippa United following a string of poor results. Speaking to the coach, the Belgian tactician finally broke his silence with regards to the exit, where he stated that I think the team was improving a lot, but the coach cannot avoid the mistake of a player of marking, or the mistake of a goalkeeper, or the mistake of a player who is not scoring at 1 meter from the line. That's very difficult. But talking about football and the style, that's something different. Each experience teaches you a lesson. Experience is a teacher, we often say. I really hope to turn things around, but I was really hoping to turn things around, but the chairman did not have more time to give me. Now, and since Chipper United, here's something you might find amusing. Chipper United have had 42 different coaches since gaining promotion to top flight football in the season 2020 in the 2012-2013 season. Despite the chopping and changing of coaches, they are still in the Betway Premiership. However, this time they lie at the bottom of the Betway Premiership. It remains to be seen whether or not they will be able to turn things around. Moving on as I continue with the story, he goes on to say each experience teaches you a lesson. I was really hoping to turn things around, but the chairman did not give me enough time. But I think everybody could see there has been big improvement in the team despite the mistakes we were making that cost us points. I think we could have been at least 4 points if I can talk about the games against Polokwane and Marumo. Bukono City, Marumo, and Skugwini United with 9 points out of a possible 15. I could have been happy. I only played 2 games at home. I played Obert and we won. I played Stellenbosch and we drew. And that was a game we deserved to win, but we drew 0-0, which is the only clean sheet that the club had this season. Now the Chili Boys started well and were showing signs of promise after playing Sundowns to a 1-0 draw and match day 1 of the Betway Premiership. The fans were there for us, and I thank them. I wish the club all the best for the future. I hope they will survive the PSL. Like I say, experience teaches you a lesson, but you have to bounce back and be better next time. I wish the coach the best of luck in his future endeavors. Moving on to our other story, La Liga has officially cancelled its plans to have the Villarreal and Barcelona versus Villarreal encounter in Miami this December. Now, this match was meant to be played on the 20th of December at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. We're going to have the one of the games in the FIFA World Cup, next year's FIFA World Cup, which will be hosted by the United USA, Mexico, and of course Canada. Now, the idea what the La Liga and the US based partner described as relevant. There was expressions of uncertainty and they expressed uncertainty in Spain and in Spain rather and insufficient time to make the game happen as 20th of December is 5 days away from Christmas Day. Now imagine that is the busiest time of the year, the festive season, and we know the Americans love their Christmas. So it's all things Christmas shopping from the 20th of December and so forth. However, for us here in the on All Things Football, there won't be a Christmas as we are going to have the 2025 AFCON Africa Cup of Nations, which will be hosted in Morocco, kicking off on the 21st of December to the 18th of May to the 18th of January, I beg your pardon. If in case you've forgotten who will be part of that tournament, we have Morocco. We have Group A. We'll have the host Morocco, Mali, Zambia, and Comoros, which many have deemed as a group of death. While in Group B, we'll see the most successful team in Egypt, 7-time winners, 1996 winners in South Africa, Angola, and of course Zimbabwe. Kosovo will be well represented from a Group B perspective, while 3-time winners Nigeria will face 2004 winners Tunisia, Uganda, and Tanzania in Group C. 2021 winners Senegal will face off against 1974 winners and the Democratic Republic of Congo, Benin, and Botswana. Group E will see 1990 and 2019 winners in Algeria, the Stallions of Burkina Faso, and of course Equatorial Guinea, not forgetting Sudan. The 3-time winners in Cote d'Ivoire, 1992, 2015, and of course the defending will go into this one as defending champions. Cote d'Ivoire will face off against 5-time winners in Cameroon, Gabon, and Mozambique. Kaiser Chiefs goalkeeper. Moving on to our other story, Kaiser Chiefs goalkeeper Brandon Peterson has been appointed as captain. Now, this begs the question: is there some form of uncertainty as far as Kaiser Chiefs is concerned? Because going into the start of the season, we did hear that defender in a new signing from last season, Inacio Miguel, had been appointed as captain following the departure of the actual captain and Yusuf Mott to plays his football for SV Ried in all the Austrian Bundesliga. The captaincy was given to Inacio Miguel before he gave it to Zita Guinica, which he cited as a sign of respect. Now it has since been given to Brandon Peterson. Miguel was appointed as a skipper, as confirmed by the start of the season by head coach Nasruddin Nabi. However, it changed to Guinica on several occasions, which the former brushed off as a sign of respect to the Amakwasi development product. Now, Zita Guinica is a product of Kaiser Chiefs before moving to Stellenbosch FC and returning to Kaiser Chiefs after the transfer ban was lifted. Speaking to co-coach Cedric Kaze, he confirmed that the coach will now be the club captain. Brendan Peterson is no stranger to the captain's armband, having been briefly captain during the 2021-2022 season alongside Bernard Parker. In a statement, he says we decided as a technical staff to appoint Peterson as the club captain going forward, said Coach Cedric, speaking to journalists after the clash. It's not the first time the 30-year-old captain donned the captain's armband, like I mentioned. He was also captain. He joined after signing from he was appointed captain, and so he wore the captain's armband at some point after joining from the now defunct Bedvest Vets at the absence of Bernard Parker. Just recently became the third captain rather, to captain the team after the since goalkeeper captain after Itumile Nkune in 2018. He made history rather to making him the second goalkeeper since Itumile Nkune to keep 5 consecutive clean sheets in 2018. Moving right along, Amazulu president Sandile Zungu has cited a lack of sponsorship from for PSL teams as far as black owned PSL teams, in what he regarded as a complex matter. In an interview, in a statement he made, he says that he regards it as a complex issue. He says this is a very complex issue. We are a well administered team. So if we aren't a well administered team, I would say professionalism is an issue, but it isn't. All of our staff and players get their salaries full on time. We comply with tax matters. We are also focused on youth development. We have a youth with royalty and with the KZN government. So why don't we get support? A sentiment that was echoed by TS Galaxy chairman and Tim Sugasi, who also expressed the struggle with finding sponsors. It's really now the PSL teams have had the going tough from a sponsorship point of view. Namely, you have Lamontville Golden Arrows, who, despite being sponsored by 10Bet, have not had a technical sponsor since Mile back in 2015. In 2013, I beg your pardon. This was a conversation he had with SABC Sport after the conclusion of the inaugural Sports Business Forum, where he lamented the lack of support from the provincial and the municipal government in the KwaZulu-Natal. Something also the chairman Farouk Kabodia of the now known Durban City complained about before in Peter Maritzburg, where he felt let down by the Umsunduzi municipality before moving to the Chatsworth Stadium in Durban. Moving right along, another player has apparently gone missing in Ghana following has apparently gone missing right after the death of promising Senegalese shot stopper and Shea Tore. Another player has gone missing after he was set to travel to Ghana to pursue football trials in the West African country. The 18-year-old was also deceived by fraudsters who posed as scouts from an unnamed professional football club in Ghana. Upon his arrival, he was kidnapped. Now, the case we mentioned this story earlier. 18-year-old Sheikh Torre, who was kidnapped by scam fraudsters who posed as kidnappers before they contacted his family. Now, this player is unknown. Now the current player that has gone missing is unknown, while the first other one is confirmed as Sheikh Torre. This one is unknown. When the Torre family was unable to finance the boy's rescue, he was found. His lifeless body was found in an abandoned area. Now, the in Ghana, an unnamed club reportedly demanded what we call 850,000 francs, approximately 26,000 rand, for him to join the squad traveling to North Africa. His mother transferred the requested sum around July. Earlier this month, Alonso contacted his family again, this time demanding 1.2 million francs, which is 36,900, which his brother also sent. The report now indicates that after his family sent all the money, the player Alessandro has been unreachable with his large communication dating back to Saturday, 18 October. Let's talk about the scamming. Let's talk about the happenings that have been taking place from a football perspective. We've had now this has become a pattern in football. We saw it with Kaiser Chiefs. Must I felt the need to caution. There's also a Dogoza Kakane Foundation who's in partnership with Kaiser Chiefs, looking for players who are from age range from 12 to 18, which is fake. Do not be scammed. You do not have to pay money to go to a trial. If it is legitimate, do reach out to whoever you can, look it up. If you anything confirmed that is club related to Kaiser Chiefs, you can go about it by emailing info@kaiserchiefs.com or call 011-941-1465. That's 011-941-1465. Or better yet, the Kaiser Chiefs website, www.kaiserchiefs.com. Here's how your fixture results panned out. Now, there was not much from a Betway Premiership perspective due to the teams taking part in the some of the teams taking part in the Continental Showpiece, which is either the CAF Champions League or the CAF Confederations Cup. Amazulu were too strong for Durban City with that Tariq Phillips late winner by an odd goal. Magesi came from two goals from a goal down to win by 2-0. Chippa United fell short to Marimo Gallants, losing by 2-1 at the death. Saturday saw Premier League football with Chelsea falling short, proving too strong for Nottingham Forest in a game which saw Ange Postecoglou losing his job at Nottingham at the City Ground. Brighton were too strong for Newcastle, winning by 2-1. Burnley did the unthinkable, beating Leeds by 2-0, while Crystal Palace played to a 3-3 draw against Bournemouth. Manchester City were too strong for Everton, with Erling Haaland getting on the score sheet, winning by 2-0, while Sunderland and Wolves was too strong for Wolves, beating them by 2-0. Arsenal won by an odd goal against Fulham in a London derby. Tottenham fell short against Aston Villa by 2-1 on Sunday, while Manchester United also beat Liverpool for the first time at Anfield since 2016 by 2-1, with goals from Brian Mbeumo and a late one from Harry Maguire, despite an equalizer by Cody Gakpo. Monday night football saw West Ham fall short to Brentford by 2-0. UEFA Champions League fixtures saw FC Barcelona win by 6-1 against Olympiacos. Arsenal winning by 4-0 against Atletico Madrid. Pafos and Gareth Almaty could not be separated, playing to a goalless draw. Bayer Leverkusen fell short against 10-men Paris Saint-Germain. Both teams finished the game with 10 men, for losing by 7-2. Manchester City winning against falling short were too strong for Villarreal, I beg your pardon, winning by 2-0. It drained goals in the Champions League with PSV beating Napoli by 6-2. Inter Milan beating newcomers Union Saint-Gilloise by 4-0. FC Copenhagen beating Borussia Dortmund by 4-2. Newcastle beating Benfica by 3-0. Wednesday saw Galatasaray beating Borussia Dortmund by 3-1. Athletic Club beating Karabakh by 3-1. 5-1, a 5-1 win for Chelsea against Ajax. 15-time winners in Real Madrid, won by Jude Bellingham odd goal by in Santiago Bernabeu, a repeat of the 1998 1998 and of course the 2015 Champions League final. Sporting Lisbon were too strong for Olympic Marseille, coming from a goal down to win by 2-1. Monaco and Tottenham could not be separated, playing to a goalless draw. Atalanta and Slavia Praha also could not provide us with goals. Eintracht Frankfurt and Liverpool. Eintracht Frankfurt fell short of, despite taking the lead, losing by 5-1. Bayern Munich were too strong for Club Brugge, winning by 4-0. Here's how the table looks from a Champions League perspective. Unfortunately, we have reached over an hour. However, the show must go on, so you are unlikely to see the show on TikTok. The league standing sees Paris Saint-Germain. The league standings see Paris Saint-Germain top the table on a 100% record with 9 points, alongside Bayern, Inter, and of course Arsenal and Real Madrid. The top five in Paris Saint-Germain, Inter, Arsenal, Real Madrid, and Real Madrid are currently on 9 points, yet to taste defeat, while Dortmund and Man City are on 7 points. Following two after draws with 2 wins and a draw, while Newcastle also joins the fold in the top 8, which is the round of 16 phase. Now with the Champions League, the teams that finish, now this is a league phase, the top 8 teams from a league perspective will automatically qualify for the round of 16, while number 9 to 24 will fight off in a two-legged playoff with the 8 teams that emerge victorious moving on to face off against the round of 16 opposition and face off against the teams that finish in the top 8, while 25 to 36 will be eliminated automatically. Barcelona find themselves on the wrong end of the table in the knockout playoff phase, alongside the England's most successful Champions team from the European perspective, with 6 points, alongside Chelsea, Sporting Lisbon, Karabakh, and of course Galatasaray, who all on 6 points. Tottenham are currently on 5, find themselves on 5, while PSV Eindhoven and Atalanta are currently on 4. 1993 winners Marseille find themselves on 3 points, despite 3 games after match day 3, find themselves on 3 points, having won just once and losing 2 their last 2. Teams from 18 to 24 find themselves with 1 win and 2 losses, while 1996, 1984, and 1996 winners in Juventus find themselves on the elimination side of things, yet to taste victory, sitting on 2 points, along with newcomers in Bodo Glimt. 2004 runners up in Monaco find themselves sitting on 2 points, alongside Slavia Praha, debutants Pavos, Bayer Leverkusen, who are 2002 runners up, while Villarreal, Copenhagen, and Olympiacos and Garad Almaty currently sit on a point. Benfica and Ajax are yet to taste a win, and let alone a point. Here's what you can expect from a football point of view this coming weekend. Here's what went down from the Betway Premiership. We saw Kaizer Chiefs playing to a goalless draw against Siwelele FC in a game that had everything besides goals, unable to topple their rivals in Orlando Pirates, who now a win would have seen Kaizer Chiefs jump to 3rd. Orlando Pirates are the only team to have played 8 games, while Kaizer Chiefs have now played 9 matches. They still have a game in hand either way. Now you must remember, a game in hand is not points earned. And Orlando Pirates secured a win against Polokwane City at the Orlando Stadium through a Tsepang Moremi win, a goal in the 5th minute, while Stellenbosch and was to prove too strong in an entertaining encounter, which saw 7 goals produced, winning by 4 goals to 3. Here's how the table looks from a Betway Premiership point of view. The champions, Mamelodi Sundowns, sit at the top on 21 points. Tasted haven't been beaten just once, while Orlando Pirates, while Skukune United follow up with 1 point, beaten just once. Also, Orlando Pirates are sitting third, having lost twice to Skukune and Marumo Giants, while the Glamour Boys Kaiser Chiefs were unable to capitalize and top win, which you have seen them topple their Soweto neighbors by 19 points, jumping to third. Durban City are up onto fifth. Chippa United are yet to taste a win. Prove have only won just once and currently 16th, I beg your pardon, sitting at the bottom of the table, while Siwelele FC sit second on the bottom of the table. Makesi jump up after their impressive display last week. With the Betway Premiership taking the backseat from this week, currently underway, it's Richards Bay versus Durban City, the Cali knockout quarterfinal game that just kicked off 10 minutes ago. Richards Bay first off against Durban City in a game that's currently underway. The score is currently 0-0. While tomorrow we'll see Golden Arrows face off against TS Galaxy. Orlando Pirates will face off against Magesi on Tuesday. Marimo Gallants will welcome Stellenbosch on Wednesday. Last night you saw the English Premier League, Leeds United beating West Ham United by 2 goals to 1 in a thrilling encounter at Ellen Road, where they yet to taste defeat this season. Saturday we'll see the first game of the day, kicking off at 4 p.m. Chelsea taking on Sunderland. Newcastle will face off against Fulham, while Manchester United will take on Brighton later in the day. Kickoff for that fixture is at 18:30, while Brentford will take on Liverpool in the late night kickoff that kicks off at 2100 hours. Sunday will see match entertaining encounters ranging from Wolves taking on Burnley. Arsenal welcome Crystal Palace in a London derby, while Aston Villa take on Manchester City. Bournemouth welcome Nottingham Forest, and of course we conclude the day with Everton taking on Tottenham Hotspur. And that's all we have time for in a rather lengthy episode of All Things Football Unpacked, due to the information that we had at our disposal. Plenty to talk about. Remember to like the show on YouTube. Give us the thumbs up if you take a liking to the show. Hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell for notification of upcoming fixtures that premiere every Saturday afternoon. And of course, follow the show on TikTok at All Things Football _14. The show is also available on Facebook. The page is also on Facebook. Like the page on Facebook at the All Things like the page on Facebook, All Things Football Unpacked. And of course, we are also on Instagram at All Things Football _14. Myself, Apiwe Roto, enjoy the show, enjoy the football. You now have your news, results, and fixtures. Let's give it a name and call it a day. Take care of yourselves and each other. Cheers.